Thank you, Madam Chairman, and thank you for being here today. You've really presented yourself extremely well, very impressive. I want to talk about rural veterinary medicine. In Mississippi, we have a tremendous shortage, and across the country that threaten the long-term viability of our livestock industries. We have counties in Mississippi that don't even have a large animal veterinarian, and that's really what we're hearing across the entire country. And as you well know, our food security and economic security are put at risk without sufficient veterinary oversight to ensure the health of animals and the food supply chain and the proper federal inspection of meat, poultry, and catfish processing. The USDA, National Institute of Food and Agriculture, NIFA, currently administers the Veterinary Medicine Loan Repayment Program to alleviate rural veterinary shortages by providing money toward educational loans of veterinarians who agree to serve in rural shortage areas. There's just so much money to be made in small animals that it's difficult to lure them into large animals. But while many of these rural veterinarians serve in private practice, some undertake federal roles such as USDA Food Safety and Inspection Service inspectors. But despite the successes of this program, there are still critical shortages across rural America. One of the reasons for this that I think has been identified is that these awards from NIFA are subject to a federal withholding tax, meaning that 37% of the dollars appropriated to this program go right back to the Treasury. So instead of the educational debt for the rural veterinarians, without this tax, we could better address these shortage issues by helping more veterinarian practices where it is desperately needed. What are your views on the veterinary shortages, and how open are you to additional conversations on how we can get more veterinarians into rural America, and how will you ensure NIFA continues to successfully administer this program, and what do you think about alleviating those taxes?
So, Senator Hyde-Smith, it's interesting because every young person I talk to who's interested in animal science, I beg them, literally beg and plead with them to look at large animals, you know. And what I noticed when I toured the veterinary school at Mississippi State University, primarily female.
Yes,
primarily female vet students.
I've got one on my staff right here that just graduated.
Large animal veterinary. So how do we, so the incentives are great. Programs like the NIFA-led program are great. We've also recognized an imperative to diversify our veterinary programs. I talked with some of the students at President Nave's University at Alcorn. You know, the students are interested in animal science and veterinary science. How do we encourage them and bridge the way for them to go into vet programs? So it's something that we talk about a lot in terms of planning on how we can use some of these unprecedented investments in the next generation of ag professionals to train targeted areas like veterinarians for rural communities, for large animal science. So I think that you're right, this is an important issue. I would love to have an opportunity to talk more, maybe hear some of your thoughts on what you've learned in your state. I've always been excited about the repayment program, the loan incentive program that NIFA led. Tried to get my daughter to go on veterinary services, but she fought against me because I thought, hey, we can send you to a rural area, you can get some of that paid back. But yeah, this is very important. ARS hires a lot of veterinarians. Mm-hmm. And well, I'll tell you where we've seen the most glaring shortage is as we move into our BSL-3 and BSL-4 facilities where we're dealing with diseases like African swine fever, classical swine fever, avian influenza. We need trained veterinarians, PhD, DVM PhDs who can help us in those spaces, and we have a shortage of those people. And then we have to compete with everybody else for the same students. And so I would love to have an opportunity to talk with you about that. Now, in terms of the withholding, I would need a whole lot more information on that piece, but I'm happy to talk with your office to see what's possible.
Well, thank you for your interest, because it is a critical shortage, and we are losing animals because we just have no one to come to the farm in time to save them. Thank you, Madam Chairman.